Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at SpongeBob SquarePants Plankton Rising by the Op.
SpongeBob SquarePants Plankton Rising is a cooperative game in which you are going to be rolling dice, trying to battle it out against the evil Plankton who's trying to steal the secret recipe for the Krabby Patty. This is very much in line with the other Rising games out there, such as Thanos Rising or the Death Eaters Rising, but obviously it has a SpongeBob SquarePants theme to it. Which first impressions go, Sam? What did you think just seeing the theme to this game?
Well, this definitely wasn't a game that me and Lance just played with the two of us. We did involve our two oldest who know all about SpongeBob, all the characters, and it was really enjoyable to see them play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
With us.
Right, yeah. They connected real quick with this game. So let's go ahead and take a look at it on the table down below, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on this one. All right, I have SpongeBob SquarePants Plankton Rising on the table here. Let me explain this game to you all. This is very much like the other Rising games that are out there, such as Thanos Rising or Death Eaters Rising. If you're familiar with those games, this will come easy to you. But how this game works is players are going to be working together against a common enemy. And this happens to be Plankton, for instance, here. And he's got a nice giant miniature here. And Plankton is trying to steal the recipe for the ultimate Krabby Patty. And we want to try to keep him from doing that. Players are going to start as one of 4 characters that are very familiar to the SpongeBob SquarePants show. And so you'll pick your character and the matching game token here, or team token, excuse me, along with the matching starting house location. So for instance, SpongeBob's house here. And this will tell you what dice you get to roll at the beginning of the game, as well as certain player abilities that you can do with the things you roll on your dice on your turn. At the beginning of a player's turn, they're going to choose where they are going to place their team token. You have 2 choices. You can either be on this side of the board for the kitchen, or you can be on this side of the board for the dining room. Whichever side you pick is going to determine the cards that you can try to do something with on your turn. So if I place it on the kitchen side here, I am going to be trying to work with these 4 cards. Now, after I pick which side I'm going to be on, then we flip over one of Plankton's cards. Now, Plankton's cards have 2 bits of information on them, a location, and then the ingredient that he is trying to steal information on this round. And so the location's either going to say kitchen, in which case he will be placed in the kitchen slot, or it might say dining room, in which case he would be placed in the dining room slot, or it might say the chum bucket, which the chum bucket just simply means he's not going to be in any location. He just goes off to the side of the board. But if he happens to be in the location that any team player icons are in, then that team, any characters that might be a part of that team, which at the beginning of the game is just the one you start with, they are going to take these time penalty tokens or cubes here, and you place them on the slots here on the right side of the card. And this is bad because if this ever completely fills up, then that character is lost. If you lose all the characters attached to one team, then all the players at the table can lose the game. That's one of the ways you can lose. Now, back to this card here. You go back to whatever the item is on that card, and you are going to place one of these theft cubes here. These are the cubes that represent that he is stealing information. And so we would place it right here on this slot. And if this ever completely fills up with 5 cubes, then you flip it over. And anytime that ingredient comes back up, you have to do whatever it says on here. And this says to add another cube to one of the other ingredients. If Plankton ever gets all 6 ingredients to be flipped over, the players lose. And that is another way you can lose this game. Now, not only does Plankton affect any team members who might be here, but he also affects any cards that are on that side of the board as well. And so these are friends, and they're going to fill up with the time cubes as well. And if they ever completely fill up, then they are lost. And if the whole group of players loses a combined 10 friends, then the players lose. And that is the third and final way that you can lose the game. These are order cards, and you are trying to accomplish a certain number of these to win the game. However, when Plankton is present on that side of the board, there's going to be additional negative effects that happen. And finally, the third kind of card you're going to come across are the evil characters, who again, when Plankton is on their side of the board, there's going to be negative effects that are going to happen. So after you figure all that out, then you get to roll your dice, which again, you go back to your player board here to tell you what dice you start the game with. As you obtain new friends, you're going to get extra additional dice. And so these dice are going to have different sides on them with the different team tokens put on them. The color of dice is important because that tells you that this particular die is much more likely to get BFF tokens, as there is a 2 BFF side and a single BFF side, whereas the green ones here are going to get you trophies. So that's important to know, because these cards here that you are trying to work with are going to ask you for combinations of tokens here, such as Gary. He wants 2 of the strong arms and 2 of the little guitar or ukuleles. If you get that on your turn, then you can claim Gary. Now, how the dice rolling works is you take your dice and you roll them, and you have to either assign at least 1 die or you have to lose 1 die. And so, for instance, I might say, well, I'm going to place this ukulele here, and then we're going to re-roll these 2 dice. You get to re-roll up to 2 more times, but each time you have to place something. And so I might place a strong arm there, and we're going to re-roll 1 more time, and I didn't get it. If you don't get what you were trying to go for, then too bad. That's just, you're out of luck there. But if you do get what you need, then you can take that character. Any time cubes that might be on that go away, and they can join your team. Now, if you complete the order, then that's great, because as I said earlier, you need to complete a certain number of orders to win the game. Standard game mode is 7, but you can increase that for additional difficulty. And then if you fulfill whatever is on the evil character cards, then you get to place one of those time cubes here, and you get to draw a spatula token, which these spatula tokens are additional things that are going to help you out throughout the course of the game. If you get a second one on here, then you get to draw 2 spatulas, and the evil character goes away. And then you refresh with new cards at the end of a turn, and it goes on to the next player. That's pretty much the gist of the game. You want to try to complete a certain number of orders to win, avoiding allowing Plankton to steal the ingredients or destroy enough friends, or to destroy one team entirely. That's how you lose the game. And that's how you play Plankton Rising. All right, we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on SpongeBob SquarePants Plankton Rising. As we've mentioned several times, this is a rising game, and so it has that idea of needing to get sets of those dice with the Yahtzee rolling system. You know, you can re-roll dice to try to get the different things you're trying to get to accomplish your goals to ultimately defeat Plankton. Sam, how did you feel about that?
I liked it. There wasn't a whole lot of places to move, so it was very easy for the kids to understand.
Yeah.
Very straightforward game. It had a little bit of, cooperation theme to it. I liked it.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect entry level to the Rising series of games, because one thing that is consistent about the Rising games, or at least until this one came out, was that I felt like they were pretty challenging. That, it wasn't going to be just a quick run through to defeat the evil boss, whoever that might be. But with Plankton Rising, the challenge isn't as extreme. Now, you can definitely bump up the difficulty level there, and so you can make it challenging and really extreme. But when you're starting out or when you're playing with kids, you can make this game, very simple to understand, and the challenge level not so high, so that everybody feels like, yeah, we can do this, you know? And that's great with kids. You don't want to burn them out and leave them feeling like they're crushed and, oh, we can't do this. You don't have that be a problem with Plankton Rising. Sorry, we got a fly in the studio here. So Sam, just the different. You mentioned that there's only 2 spots here that you can move to. really makes it simple enough to understand as far as strategy-wise with non-gamers go, right?
Yeah, it really introduces the kids to basic strategy.
Yeah. Rules-wise, did you feel like the rules were too complex or...
No, I thought it was very straightforward, very easy to understand.
Okay, yeah. You can see the icons on the cards of what you're trying to get with your dice. Everybody knows Yahtzee, right? I mean, you re-roll the things you don't want, keep the things you do want, kind of mechanic there with that. Components-wise, I thought the components were great with this game. You get that giant Plankton mini that's solid. It's not, flimsy and going to break for you. A nice artwork worth on the cards. The kids, again, really connected with that. Yeah. Man, this really hit it out of the park with our kids, I felt like.
Yeah,
they had
really
a good time with
it.
it. So, and that's not to say that as parents that we felt like, or, I shouldn't speak for you, but for me, I didn't feel like, oh, goodness, when is this game ever going to end, as you can with some children's games. I felt like it was a fun experience that I could enjoy with them and see them having a good time with.
Yeah, it was a little bit different than some of the typical children's games that we've been presented. So many of them are Monopoly with a theme or Sorry with a theme, and this is really its own game.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it's a good entry into the Rising theme. Maybe it can lead on to playing some other Rising theme games that maybe you connect with, such as Harry Potter or Star Wars or whatever. So I thought I had a really good time with this one. So pros for SpongeBob SquarePants Plankton Rising from a non-gamer.
I mean, I think it was easy setup, easy to understand, fun to play with kids, which is always a big one in our book. And it was fairly quick too. It wasn't a terribly long game.
Any cons?
I mean, you gotta like SpongeBob. So
that is true. SpongeBob may be a bit annoying for some parents out there. Completely understand that. So if that's not something that's your cup of tea, maybe don't play this game. But if that's okay with you, and your kids really enjoy it, go for it. And you don't have to deal with his voice or anything like that, or the humor involved with SpongeBob. You just see the artwork on it. There's no flavor text or anything like that in this game. Scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give Plankton Rising?
Well, I always try to do kids' games on a little bit different of a scale and try to consider, that this is not on the same scale as some other games, but I'd give it a solid, 6.5.
Okay, yeah, fair score. So I'm going to score it on a normal game score scale, not a kid's scale. And the reason for that is because even though it is SpongeBob, and that's probably not a theme that a lot of adults are going to sit down and play, I still feel like this is a solid game. It's not your typical kids game. And so because of that, I'm going to score it as such. And for me, I think it's probably a 6.8. I think it's right there in the midst of being a solid game that I would say, hey, let's sit down and play this, especially with kids. So 6.8 there for me. Would you recommend playing this with non-gamers?
Yeah, I definitely think this is a good fit for non-gamers.
Okay. All right. Very good. There you go. That is SpongeBob SquarePants Plankton Rising from the Op.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push the bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.